Get up on your feet, this is a shakedown. Order up that beat just like it's takeout.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Unemployable, podcast number 5 with my old dear friend, Ben. We went to Miami ad school together. We worked together. He's amazing. So I'm going to throw it over to him and he's going to tell you guys what he's been doing the last, 20 years?
Not much, just kind of hanging out. I got married, I had kids. I was a copywriter who became a creative director and worked in Miami, New York, a little bit of time in Philadelphia. And for the last 6 years now, I have been a full-time presentation coach, primarily for agencies, but also for other businesses, trying to teach people the thing that I could not do, which was sell ideas in a room without creating death by PowerPoint.
And you wrote a book. You want
I
to
did
give
write
it?
a book about it called Stop Reading Slides. But you see, I almost got it like a little too far past. Still, it's weird. But yeah, right there.
I'm going to link
Available on.
in the show notes so you guys
Woohoo!
have the opportunity to purchase. I'm
Yes.
sure it's amazing. I will actually be buying one because I haven't read it yet either.
I'll drop an exclusive. Should we do an exclusive? I am working on a second book.
Woo!
It
Second
is
book.
it's a companion to that. So it's
That's
not a
amazing.
full book in itself. It's actually, if you have done training with me or read the book or caught some of my workshops, it's a workbook that's intended to help you put these things into practice. It's like I was standing
Wow.
next to you going, now do this. Once you've got that, then do this, then do this. It's the same way that I approach it, but anyone who's ever tried to learn a new skill,
Mm-hmm.
it can be hard to break those habits. So the workbook is sort of a set of rails to help guide you.
That's amazing. And I'm starting my own thing. I'm sure everyone on LinkedIn has seen my rage posts about how horrible the job market is. So I'm going to have to get your workbook to figure out how I'm presenting myself because I can't be like a raging bitch all the time.
I think that that's probably going to be the trickiest thing for you, is
Mhm.
just to present to people that this is not, I do have emotions besides pure glitter fueled rage.
Besides rage against the system.
People are like, I don't know if this girl's real. I'm like, I know her. This is legit. It's not all of her, but yeah, she could totally turn that on.
Oh my God. When I started getting all this hate a couple weeks ago, people were like, they got my cell number. I don't know if I told you this.
That's insane to me, by the
Yeah, they
way.
got my cell number and they were texting me. And one of them was like, we all know you're fake because you don't talk the way you write. I'm like, well, if I talked the way I wrote, I don't think I would have any friends.
I also wouldn't have any of my original teeth or have
Right.
gotten married. It's funny to hear you say that because I write exactly the way I talk, and it's a skill that's only taken me about 25 years to perfect.
It's hard.
So, yeah,
It is
I will
hard.
I will overdo it. Some of the feedback I get on early copies of things that I write, people are like, there's pieces here where I know you and I can hear your voice in my head, but I had to read it twice to understand that that was sarcastic. Like it was too dry.
People write me, like VPs write me, they're like, I will like die on this hill that I do not know you. Like I will never connect with you, but I'll follow you. Cause I guess you can't see who's following people on LinkedIn. Is that a thing?
I don't know. I
Like
thought
you can see who you're connected to.
I can see followers, maybe.
Maybe your
But I
follower.
think if right, but if I go on somebody else's page, it shows me mutual connections. It doesn't show me like
Right, not
followers.
followers.
So
Yeah.
that's what they
And they're like, they'll be like, I love you. You fucking rock. Like, thank you for saying this, but I will deny to my grave that I know you.
which is so annoying. Not about the part that they deny that they know you, just the part that like I'm out here leading the charge. You can at least line up behind me. Like
Right.
it
Like
would
you can at
matter
least
if it came from you.
acknowledge what the fuck is going on. If you follow her on LinkedIn, she's like 400,000 followers. She's a top voice.
Yeah. Oh, I remember you talking about this. Yeah.
She's the one who she came on to one of my posts and she started yelling at me like she fucking hammered me. And then she went on to 2 more posts, hammered me again. And so I woke up in the morning and a couple of my followers were like, "You need to address this. Like what she's doing to you is really wrong." And so I go, I read the post. I'm like, "Okay." She's telling me like I'm rage baiting, I'm lying, etc. So I sent her a DM. I'm like, "Hey, I'm using my free message on you. Ha ha ha," like trying to make a joke. And I was like, "Look, if you tell me what I wrote that was wrong, tell me and I'll write a retraction and I'll apologize. Like, tell me, like, I'm not, first of all, my stuff is satire. I'm not giving anyone advice. I'm not telling anyone how the systems work. I'm just writing funny shit because it's not true. It's not true. The system."
That's part of the problem. Yeah.
And she's like, "All the recruiters already wrote on your post what you said that was wrong." And I'm like, "No, they didn't. No, they didn't. They were like, it doesn't automatically reject." I'm like, "I didn't say it did. It doesn't automatically reject. It rejects based on your keywords that you enter. That's the joke I'm making. That's what that means." And she like didn't get it. She's like, "I hope you got what you wanted. This is how cult leaders come about. You're spreading propaganda. You're rage baiting." And I told her, I'm like, "You're making me feel really bad. Like none of this was my intention." And I kept saying like, "You don't know me. You don't know me. So how can you say all these things about me?"
I think you're a terrible cult leader, by the way.
Yeah, I'm a
I don't,
terrible cult leader.
as far as I know, you still only have one husband.
Yes,
You
correct.
don't seem to be making any money off of this. I've
$0.
seen no flags. I mean, you say that your branding, is part of your skill set, and yet I've
I
seen no
know.
flags. I've
God, you're
seen no
right.
political posters. This is a really disappointing cult, Jill.
I know. I need to
I
be
feel you
better
can
at leading a cult.
I feel you can do better.
Maybe
Kool-Aid,
I should like,
nothing.
I know.
I've again, this is where I look at this stuff and I'm just like, man, I'm assuming it's everything else in the world that's making you like this
And she
because,
blocked me.
well, that's the sign of intelligent discourse.
All her fun posts went away. And I was like really sad by that because
Yeah, like the biggest problem is now I don't have content. It's
and so I called out recruiters generically. And I feel like that was the inherent problem with that post. I should have been like some recruiters, not all.
maybe, yeah, yeah. It's funny. I do have to watch myself with that, and I find myself watching out for it the more that I do this
Mhm.
because it's really easy to beat up on the account team, or it's really easy to beat it. Oh, the account team are traders. They only do what the client wants. Oh, strategists have to take the first 45 minutes of every meeting going through all their slides. Because I have some real bad news for you. You want me to tell you what we do all the time? We're tone deaf. We are more defensive than a cat who's on the last of its 9 lives sitting on top of a cactus surrounded by coyotes. Like, we do not listen when we're in the room. We just want to get through our shit. Like,
Yeah.
did you think you were blameless in this? So and the truth is, I've met account people who are amazing and absolutely the opposite of that. I've worked with strategists who are not that at all. And I've worked with plenty of creatives who were not that. So it's like, it's amazing how much freedom that word, like some,
Mhm.
gives you in those cases, even though it's more fun to just throw out the blanket statement. I have found myself being like, okay, I should moderate.
Yeah, I just kind of like realized that now that I did that. I didn't realize that until this conversation.
I mean, to me, it's a forgivable offense, but like I said, moving through life as a student, right? The thing to
Yeah,
learn from it is,
right.
okay, that might have been the line that got crossed for a lot of people. That might have
Right.
been where, well, I didn't say it was you. Yeah, but you didn't leave it room to not be me.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, fair. I will do that in the future, right?
right.
But I still think like in an ideal world, you'd be healthy enough and secure enough that you can look at that and separate yourself from an entire industry. When people shit on advertising executives, I'm like, not all advertising executives. I mean,
Yeah,
99% of them, but I do know two that are okay.
right.
Like
Or like
it's that
women
kind of thing.
drivers. That's like shitting on a whole fucking female population. I'm not offended.
I've seen you drive. No, I'm kidding. I think I have seen you drive.
He was
That's but that's that kind of, again, how confident are you in the moment that
Right.
you're like, no, I have to go to bat for this.
Yeah. Right. I
It
know.
is, look, it's the dangers of being online, right? If you worry about every single thing, you're not going to put anything out there.
Right. Yeah.
But
It's
do learn from it and do continue to like get better
yeah.
at it.
We all just want to be better. I always say this whenever I'm talking to somebody. We all just want to be better. And I feel like that is something I don't know if I even learned that. I feel like I learned that in ad school because that was like a very Ron and Pippa thing. Like, how do you be better?
Yeah. I I talk about this a lot, and it's interesting. Most recently, the conversations have started to pivot from how do I convince my client to how do I convince my coworkers? Because people are recognizing that the sort of blocks are happening closer to home than they
Yeah.
used to. In part, I think because of the challenges, the shorter timelines, the different workflows that people have. Sometimes it's because you're working remotely, sometimes not. The the point that I always make to people is I want the same thing you want. In
Mm-hmm.
all of these circumstances, if you zoom out enough, you recognize that you actually want the same thing. Well, the
Right.
client hates your work. They don't hate the work. They're afraid it's not going to solve their problem. I
Yeah.
want to solve your problem, client. It just so happens I believe this work is the best way to do it. We're not
Yeah.
actually coming from opposite ends.
Right.
We're just we're just debating how to get to where we both want to go.
Yeah.
That same thing is true within the agency. Somebody comes to me, oh my God, you took all the words off the slides. What are you fucking doing? We're going to get fired. No, 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 no. Look, I actually want the meeting to go well. So do
Right.
you. Let me
Yeah.
explain to you why I think this is going to make the meeting go better. Starting there, finding that common ground is to me the most important thing. You can't logic somebody into believing your shit.
Tech is doing so bad. I feel like, do you feel like it kind of came out of nowhere? Like, were you expecting this?
Yes, but I'm also a pessimist. So for me, it's like, were you expecting this? Well, yes, but I constantly expect the world to end. It's
Right.
just that this
We're just
time I was
waiting for
right.
the other shoe to drop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I saw this one coming, actually. Not not that I knew what to do with it. I just having an interest in tech and being in the digital space already as a creative. I sort of knew how these things were going to get matched together.
Mm-hmm.
Thing that really frustrates me, a current state of AI, is that it's the greatest PR story in history, as far as I can tell. It is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but so many people are in love with it
Hmm.
that you can't have a normal conversation about it, and the hype cycle is driving decisions.
Right.
So, to go full glitter goblin on it, if you want to talk about the job hunt and what it did. This was pre-AI. AI has just made it worse.
Mm-hmm.
But even before that, even before all the digital slop, you just look at the obsession people have with, oh, if I can put magic crap into this process, then it'll be simpler for me.
Mm-hmm.
Says who? And
Right.
and is speed the thing that you need? Is speed actually
Right.
the success here? Because there's studies that have come out recently that I thought were really interesting that are saying the businesses that have actually seen the best success with AI are where they used AI not to make tasks faster or cheaper, but to eliminate them, which is a totally different thing, right?
Explain that.
Okay, so if you have a job that really no one should be doing,
Mm-hmm.
argument's sake, there's a snack drawer at work, and when the snacks are gone, you need to order new snacks. You know what those snacks are going to be every month. Nobody, this doesn't need to be anyone's job. If I
Right.
can set up a camera and AI is like, yo, the drawer's empty, so I just ordered new shit. Great. Now that's saved. It's taken something off somebody's plate. But
Yeah.
if
Right.
you're like, okay, I have to write this email to someone, but I don't really feel like I want to do it right now. Hey, AI, write this email for me. Odds are that email is going to go out. It's not going to have actual content that's necessary. There's going to be something missing from it. It's going to now require the recipient to send you another email back to clarify things, and then you're going to have to look at that and read it. Now you've made more work.
Right.
So places where you can completely close the loop, according to these studies, you get a huge benefit from injecting AI or any technology. But places where you're just like, let me shove this in there and see what happens.
Right.
You're really just moving the clog downstream.
Yeah, I think it also, like, what we're talking about now is it's a strategic way to use AI, which again, it goes back to strategy and it goes back to how are you bringing in this new technology? How is it going to be used instead of just throwing it out there, bringing it in and using it for whatever. And I have this conversation. I've had this conversation with so many people who have interviewed me, like high, like VP of creative, like high level people. How are you using AI? How are you implementing it? Well, we're leaving it up to the person who's using it. And that's not necessarily correct either. There are broad rules on how to use certain things within a company, but then there's also specific rules. And I feel like this probably needs a specific rule, and they're just not giving it that yet. And also my strategic questions, I've hit on this before. They don't want to answer them. Like I've had one interview where he's literally answered my questions in a way that made sense. The others were just like glossed over. Like they don't want to take the time. And every interview I've had, now that we're talking about taking the time, I felt rushed. And like every interview except for one, and that guy was amazing. I really wanted that job, but I didn't get it. But I've always felt rushed. Like it's always like, do you check XYZ box? And they don't want to know who I am, where I come from. They don't want to know anything about me. They just want to know if I check the boxes. It's wild.
It's funny because I think in part you can attribute that to what I was talking about before, where there's this bigger thing going on. I love the meme, but the truth is none of us have just one job.
Right. Right.
But that's still, you need to recognize that so that you can understand the conversations you're having with people, but also you
Mhm.
need to recognize that if you're the one leading those conversations, to your point, if that's the space you're in, try to recognize that and then modify in some way, because
Right.
there's a human on the other end of this engagement.
Yeah.
You can't just, I remember, and this is years ago, they stick with me, the interviews where the disrespect was the clearest thing.
Yeah.
And there was one where it wasn't even disrespectful, but it was a really, really big name agency. I was sort of scared to even be interviewing. There were a lot of flags here or there, but one of the things that made me excited is they said, "Oh, the ECD of the company wants to interview you." And I was like, "Okay, so maybe this isn't like a landmine. Maybe they really are looking for people to come fill these roles."
Yeah.
And I go in, and I don't even know how it came up. I guess it was a line on my resume. He was like, "Oh, you do kung fu." And we started talking about martial arts. And we had a half-hour conversation about martial arts, and then he was like, "All right, I gotta go pick up my kid. It was great talking to you." And I was like, "This was really cool, but I don't feel like you care about what I could do in this role at all." And that's
Yeah.
like, it wasn't even a vibe check. It was like, I had
Right.
to meet with you. Luckily, we had a thing to talk about that was interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Peace. And that was sort of the final nail for me to go, like, I don't want to go there. And it turned out that whole department disappeared in about 3 months.
Wow.
So the flags were correct. I had
Yeah.
another one where, again, great name for an agency. I went in, I had the first interview with the HR person, really nice guy, loved it. Brought my potential partner up to New York. He wasn't living there at the time. We went in together, met the CCO. The guy sits there with his feet on his desk, opens my partner's book, flips back to, because this is 100 years ago. We had physical portfolios,
Right.
kids.
10,000 years ago when you still called things a book and they
Yeah,
were real.
yeah. You called it a book. You would have to get into the building like ducking pterodactyls that were swooping down on you. He flips from back to front, not even looking out of order. He just kind of like brrr, looks at his HR manager and goes, "Is this any good?" And then starts talking to, like, out loud, just to the room in general, about some other agency and how they have fancy offices and that's what he wants. And I remember being so embarrassed that I had dragged my partner to the, I was, dude, this wasn't what happened last time. Like, I am so sorry.
Yeah.
And they offered us the gig and I said no. And then the HR manager called and tried to talk me into it. And again, he was a very nice person, but he said, so and so, the CCO, he's kind of a genius. And like, geniuses, they can be temperamental. And I went, "I'm sorry, but I have been ruined for advertising because I had some bosses who were actual humans. And
Yeah.
we got in the award books, every one of them that year in
Hmm.
the annuals.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's once you have a good creative and some people like I've worked for agencies where like some creative directors, they'll seem like good people, like on the surface. And then once you get to know them and you like hear them talking, it's like they're assholes. And you
Yeah.
wonder, how did they get away with this shit?
I worked for a lot of independent agencies. No one is perfect, but you start to recognize, I guess, common flaws
Yeah.
or common ignorance
Right.
because it's easy to be in the trenches and go, if I were in charge, I would do these things differently. And then you get in charge and you do those things differently in some cases, or you find out, you know what, they have to be done like this anyway. But there's so much that you just don't know. And I'll get in conversations with a lot of people who will say, I want to do what you did because I'm
Right.
advertising adjacent now and I'm my own boss. And they're like, all right, how do I want to make my own company? I have these ideas. I want to talk to you about it. And one of the first things I point out to anybody coming from the advertising world is we do not know what a solid business plan looks like.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how good business acts because no agency that any of us grew up in, there's a couple of exceptions now, I think, although it's still early days, but
Yeah.
no agency that we all grew up in had a sustainable business model. Everyone was built on just bleeding out your employees.
Yeah. It was like throwing spaghetti at the wall. Like,
Yeah,
is it gonna stick? Is this pitch gonna work? Are we gonna be the AOR? Yeah. That's
yeah.
so true.
And so you don't even have an example of a different industry that worked.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, well, I mean, we do accounts payable, right? And then there's like we go for that AOR, or we're going to basically be freelance contractors. And you're like, that's
Right.
even within those spaces, there are better ways to do it. There are other examples of people who do not accept a net 360-day payout for their services or
Right.
pitch for free so that we'll decide whether or not we want you. Like we're so far behind when it comes to what an actual working business should look like that that's
Right.
one of the first things I tell people.
Yeah. What do you think about the whole DDB thing? Have you been following that?
Yeah, I so for me it's a hold co thing more than a DDB thing. That's just the
Mm-hmm.
way I'm processing it.
Right. That makes
Is
sense.
it is it sad that the name is going away? Yes, but I was also really upset when JWT went away.
Yeah, true.
It's ridiculous that an industry that is built at least in part on branding and
Mm-hmm.
has more than enough studies and examples to show the impact of branding
Right.
is just taught because you can't tell me that WPP or Omnicom is a brand.
Yeah. No, they're not. No,
I guess they're not a good one,
I
right?
mean, that costs
They don't have
brand.
assets. They don't have assets that you want to use as a brand other than big. And so I think it's sad that those legacies are going away. I do agree with the people who are saying, look, change is inevitable, and can we also spend some time celebrating the emerging greats? Because I do think there are some. I think there's a lot,
Who's
actually.
emerging for you?
Mischief is the big one for me.
Yeah. Agreed.
I've gotten to say this to Craig, but I Mischief holds a place for me currently where Crispin Porter in its heyday
No
held
way.
for me. Yeah, like
Really?
yeah, because it's that place it's that agency I look at and I go, they look like they're having so much fun and that's the kind of work I want to make. So for me, that's the space they hold in my world. Not necessarily, I'm not talking about like the GOAT, rank them, how are they going to be? Not that. I'm just
Right.
saying that's the thing that makes me go, this would be a fun industry to work in. And
Yeah.
then and then I think you see other shops
Mother. Well, I love
like
Jed, so I'm just gonna
Mother,
say
I mean Jed, sure,
because Jed
absolutely.
is like the goat. And Mother has made it very clear that like they probably won't ever sell out to the man. But
Well, and that's RGA, I think went back to being independent.
oh my God, you're right,
Am I
they
right about that?
did. Yes,
RGA bought themselves back.
they did. I read that. I thought that was super cool when I read
Yeah.
that.
I independent is the big thing now, and there's sub genres of, well, what does it mean to be independent? Can you be independent if you've taken some outside money? Does independent just mean you're not a holdco? But I think what we're finding is, particularly in the current environment of advertising and marketing and design, independent is the thing that you need to be to figure out how to deal with the current insanity. You
Mm,
just don't. Holding companies move too slow. That's even assuming
right.
they're moving in the right direction, which I don't think they are.
No, I mean, they're definitely not, for sure. I mean, I've worked for I started remote in 2013, and so I can't even, like, talk about culture really because it's been 10 years since I've been inside an agency, really. I mean, the last agency I worked for was in Austin. I never flew there. Everything was remote.
Culture is such a weird thing that, like, so do you consider culture to be the vibe, like, on the ground in the agency? Like the
I mean, I
physical?
guess not anymore. Consider it, I think, how you treat your people, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like even even for agencies where I was freelancing for or I was like a contract worker and it was like I had a family thing, like we have 2 kids. We're gonna family shit's gonna come up at some point when you're working for somebody. And I remember back in the day when like I would get like legitimately sick, not at Sapient. Sapient was great about this, but a couple other agencies in Miami that I like freelanced for or worked for, and they were like, "You can't take today off." Like we have a client meeting, and I had like the flu one time. I had like 101 fever, and they were like, "Take some Tylenol, and you need to come in."
Have you
And
seen those posts? Have you seen those posts? People will be like, an actual email I wrote one time, and it was, "Hey, so I'm having minor surgery this morning, but they say I should be in the recovery room by X. You can drop me an email then. I just won't be able to join the call."
oh
Have you
my
seen
god, I
these?
fucking love that. Wait,
There's
I probably have some of those.
there's a couple of them and that I've seen, and they're all like, how you work in America. Because another country will never, no one in France has ever been like, yeah, I have surgery this morning, so I should be able to make the meeting in the afternoon. I had a super minor procedure, something removed from my face, and I didn't want to be out of the office. So I had it done that morning. I go into the office with this like bandage, and my
Uh-huh.
boss is like, Didn't you did you have that today? And I was like, yeah. He's like, what are you are you on pain medicine? I'm like, it's good. He was like, get the fuck out of here. I was like, all right, but I want credit that I came in. He was like, go home. And I swear, about 20 minutes after I got home, the medicine wore off. And I was like, oh, this was the right call. But like, that's how broken we are, that we think that's how this works. And that was the thing. When I say that Juan ruined me for advertising, my first boss, that's what I mean. I remember distinctly coming into the office. I was the first writer they ever hired full time. So I remember coming to the office. I'd maybe been working there 2 months, and he came to me. He was the CD, and he was from the art side. And he goes, "Hey, I wrote this thing. Can you just check it and let me know if it's good?" It was some PR piece. It was not great. So it was
Mhm.
a lot of red pen on it. I did the whole thing, 40 minutes. I come back to him. I was like, "Hey, here you go. I had some suggestions." And he's like, "Awesome. Thank you. It's exactly what I wanted." And I said, "Hey, man, just so you know, like, I'm your writer now. You could give that to me. I would do these
Right.
things."
Yeah.
And he said, it was late at night. I was up. I was thinking about it. Didn't it didn't need you. Like, I knew you'd have time to check it this morning. It was cool. I'm like, okay. And I turn around. I'm walking out of his office, and I'm almost through the door. And he goes, "Hey." I turned around, and he said, "So now you know. If I do call you at 10:30 at night, it's because I need you."
Mhm.
And I was like, "I will follow you to the gates of hell, sir." Like,
Right.
even as my first job, I'd already learned that that kind of respect down
Mhm.
the ladder was not a thing that was common in advertising. And so somebody showing me that, and again, winding up in all the annuals for the first year that I worked there for things like Coca-Cola and Guinness, I was like,
Mhm.
okay, it's not that we never worked late or that we never showed up on a weekend, but we wanted to because we
Yeah, we
cared about
wanted
the
to.
work.
Right.
And if you couldn't, you were just missing out.
Right.
Weren't Nobody was coming to you at the end of the month being like, "So I was looking at your hours and
Right.
you want to explain this to me?"
Yeah. You wanted to be a part of the magic. So it was magic
Yeah.
that
Well, and because it was fun. It wasn't like do this or it's your ass. It was everybody felt like they were in it together. Years later, I was working at Havas, New York. I had some teams I was working in that felt like that. Hopefully, the people who were working under me felt like that.
I'm sure they did.
But I had other times there where somebody came in and was like, I will see you all tomorrow on Saturday. And I said, you will not, because I'm an observant Jew and I won't be here. But when the sun goes down, I'll be on. And
Hmm.
he was like, well, you have to go talk to the CCO about it. And I went, fine. And the CCO was awesome. He was like, yeah, why are you telling me this? Right? Like
Right.
he didn't care. It
Yeah.
was somebody else in the organization, a particular
Right.
individual who was like
Yeah.
the wrong mindset.
Yeah.
And I think to your point, if you find decent humans, that
Yeah.
sometimes you do get a layer of decent humans and then a couple monsters up top,
Right.
and
I've
that's
experienced that.
tough.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
experienced that before. And you know what I think it is? It's what I've noticed when you have the monsters is that it really is people who have never been treated badly. Because if you're treated badly, I feel like I had this pivotal moment in my career. I was treated really shittily by somebody who was my superior. And I was like, I never want to be like that. I never want to talk to people like that.
I think it goes one of two ways. I think you wind up like you, which is what I would hope.
Right.
And I remember going through it and I always try to be a student, no matter where
Right.
I
You're always
am
learning. Yeah.
in life, right? So I would have bosses that I could not stand, where I was sort of like counting the days till I moved to my next phase in life and didn't have to deal with these people anymore. And I was still sitting there going, okay, what are the things I don't want to do? Like
Right. What are you learning?
I learned that I would never give feedback without giving rationale because I had too many people go, it's not there yet. And I was like, what do I do with that? What,
Right.
how, where do I go? Wait, don't walk away from me.
Push, push further. Am I having a fucking baby? What am I
Just,
pushing? Tell me. Like, is it the
just,
color?
just,
Is
just
it the
play with
font?
it. Just have fun with it.
Yeah, just play
Yeah,
with
yeah.
it.
Oh,
Oh my
I
God.
literally, I was so stupid that it took me probably 2 years to figure out that I needed to say to people, no, 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 when you tell me it's about 80% there, which 80%? Because I guarantee I'm going to change the wrong 20. Like
Right.
I need you to, what does that mean? Anyway, all of that for me to recognize I don't ever want to do that when
Yeah.
I'm in that position. But I think there are other people, I've worked with other people who have taken that kind of abuse and it's crystallized into something different, where for them it's this is what you have to go through to earn the right. And I mean, it's like that generational trauma thing.
I hate that. Yeah.
You
I
just keep,
see what you're saying though.
right? Like it can go two ways. And I also think a big problem with this industry, because of the ageism, because of the speed of turnover and the speed of promotion that happens these days, people don't have the soft skills aren't taught, and you don't have time to develop them. And then the
Yeah.
people at the top didn't get them because even though they're at the top, they're relatively young and inexperienced compared to
Right.
other roles in other
Yeah.
industries. And now you're going, well, I guess I just do it like they did it, right? Like
Right.
they beat me, so I should beat the people below me. I
That's interesting.
remember in ad school, I had this was so I taught in Miami ad school for a couple of years. When I moved up to New York to work there, I taught at Miami ad school in Brooklyn. If you don't know about Miami ad school, yes, you could be in Miami and other places. It's super
Yes.
confusing.
I was in Miami,
So
New York, but it was in the city when I did it, not in
no,
Brooklyn.
I did when it was in Dumbo. I was teaching a class and I had a student in there who was really good, like above average, and a complete dick. And he would shred other people. And there was literally a day where somebody put work up and he skewered them. And it wasn't just about the work, right? We know we're supposed to separate the work from the people. He
Hmm.
combined it. It wasn't like you're a fucking idiot, but it basically was while he was giving
Was
this
he a
feedback.
writer? Sounds like a writer.
I think he was a writer. We writers are dicks.
Those fucking writers.
I'm a writer. I remember the student whose work was up turns to me and goes, is he right? Or something like, what do you think about what he said? And I said, I hate everything that he said, but he's not wrong. And when class
How
was
he said
done,
it.
I said to that person, come here, I talked to you for a minute. And I think I was their like second to last quarter before they were going to graduate.
Mhm.
And I said, you're really, really good. And he was like, yeah. Like you could see it was like I know. I said, and you will never be a creative director if you cannot learn how to work with people. And he just collapsed. By the end of the conversation, he was crying and thanking me because he said that he always felt like something was wrong. He always felt that disconnect between himself and the other students. He didn't understand what it was. No one ever told him. Everybody was just like, fucking just counting days till they could get him out of their class.
Right.
And I was the first person to hold up a mirror and go, do you really understand what you're doing here? Because it doesn't matter if you're good. This is a business of relationships.
Right.
And the next class when it was done, one of the students came up to me and went, what did you say to him? Because instantly he was going, hey, so I think this is really cool. Here's some things that maybe you want to think about. Like his entire demeanor was different. And now
Wow.
all that knowledge or skill that he possessed was getting used in a way that could be beneficial as opposed to somebody
To
feeling
other
like
people, right. Oh my
I
gosh.
just got run over by a truck.
Right.
How different is that person going to be now because
Yeah.
they had the opportunity early on for someone to go, just put the work out of it for a second. Let's talk about you.
Right. I have chills. It's like you changed his life. That's what a good teacher does.
But I mean, a good teacher and a good leader are not
Are the same.
both those, they can be the same. But where I was going with this is that a good teacher and a good leader are not necessarily the most talented person in the room.
Right.
So there are a lot of people who wind up in the leadership position. There are a lot of people I had as teachers who I wish I could have learned how you do what you do. You
Right.
could not tell me. No,
Right.
you never, it wasn't your gift. You never found the way to explain to somebody how to do what you do. You don't know how to explain what it is that you do. In some cases, you just yell at other people when they don't do what you want them to do.
Mhm.
That's, I think, another way that gets us here. Again, that super quick rate of promotion.
Right.
Congratulations, you were part of a project that got a Cannes Lion. Fantastic. Now
Right.
you're in charge of 14 other people who are only a year younger than you. Make
Mhm.
them great.
Mhm.
How? No one taught you. That wasn't part of your job at any point.
Right. Yeah, I think it's like this toxic, it almost becomes this toxicity, right? Where you have like these people who are really good at their job and they keep getting promoted, but they're not good humans. Then and they need to teach other humans, but they don't know how. So they're only hiring people that are really good at their job, but they need to hire people who can be taught because you are still learning lessons in life, but they're not hiring people who are being open to being
Yeah.
taught.
Or they can assess people who are within their skill set from what they're good at, but they don't know how to look for the opportunities outside of that. I
Yeah.
learned a ton one time. I had an art director who was a classically trained designer, which is not always the norm.
And it's not ad school. That's not ad school
It's
either.
not
I
he was
have
not
this
at school.
conversation with people all the time, and it's like, "You're a designer." Well, yes, I can design, but I am a
Hmm.
trained art director. It is not the same. And now I feel like nobody understands the fucking difference, especially the digital agencies, because I am a digital designer. I'm a digital art director. That is my background. I don't even know how, like now I'm just, so I'm just annoyed at everything, to be honest. It's like,
I mean, that's fair. Have you looked outside? I, I, there's a bunch of things in what you just said that I think are worth separating and highlighting, like labeling. One is there's a difference between art direction and design.
right.
And unless you've really been in it, for a lot of people, this is super confusing. I went to college and did both. I was a dual major when I started out in graphic design and advertising, which is why I'm so aware of the difference between both.
Yeah. I mean, at UF, advertising and graphic design is in the school of like it's not even remotely close to the school of advertising. They're
Yeah,
completely
it's like
different
you'll get
campuses.
one in communications and the other in like
Yes.
arts.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
It
it's arts. Yeah.
you'll often have ad agencies where you pair people, writer and art director, but then they'll have a design department.
Right. Which that
The
doesn't have
designers,
is
I
that
mean,
still a thing?
Yeah, yeah. At some places, it's still a thing. I feel like it's more common at places that are lean a little bit more towards production in terms of what they
Mm,
offer than the strategic creative bit, but
right.
it all blends together,
Yeah.
which is the other thing. So the first thing I wanted to point out is I have always thought that there needs to be two tracks for promotion. You need to let somebody who is an amazing craftsperson just be an amazing craftsperson at the level of someone who is a client-facing creative director.
Mm-hmm.
The problem
Mm-hmm.
is when you get that person who's a tremendous designer, I'm literally faces are coming to mind while I'm talking about this, and
I
then you
know.
go, okay, well, I don't know. I mean, the only place to promote you from here is to a client-facing role or to a
And they
management
don't
role.
want it.
You're in charge of the design. They don't want it.
Right.
They literally don't want it, but they don't have a choice now. And I've seen horrible things come from it.
Sapien was
And
really good about that. They had two separate
Sapient,
tracks.
Sapient understood it. Sapient understood it. I also titles, just what the fuck?
I know.
Just in general, right? So
Fucking
when you
stupid.
talk about nobody knows what I do, I don't even know what I do anymore. Like, what the hell are
No.
you looking for? I saw a post yesterday, someone was saying, when someone tells me they're a copywriter, I don't know what they mean. Do you mean you are a content writer,
Hmm.
B, a advertising marketing style person who thinks and then the output of that thinking is clever words or phrases?
All of it.
C, C, are you an individual who has a specialist track in knowledge like tech or pharma, and you write almost like white papers or journalist articles about
Right.
this? Because
Right.
all three of those people will put copywriter on their resume. And then when you have a job offer that says, need a copywriter, who are you talking to? Who are they
Yeah,
talking
but
to?
like that's the thing. Like when you go to ad school, okay, first of all, back up because Miami Ad School did have a design track, art direction track, copywriting track. They
They
had
did.
all three. I wonder if
They
they
even had
still
a
have those
photo
things
track.
now.
I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know if they do.
photography.
Yeah.
Photography. That's right. Okay, so when we started, and I don't know if you know this, but when we started, we didn't have a web. There was no web design, right? When we started,
I know.
like,
Because
yeah,
the first advertising for internet or whatever they called it
whatever they called it.
was Juan's class. That was where I met him.
So I didn't take that class for whatever reason, I don't think. Oh, I know why I didn't take that class because I was at Razorfish Fort Lauderdale doing my internship, which was the first internship at a digital agency besides AKQA.
I remember that. Yes.
And
Yes.
I brought Razorfish into the Miami Ad School program because I was like, I want to work here. And I cold emailed them and I was like, hey, I'm a student at Miami Ad School. I love your work. I really want to be a digital art director. And at that time, nobody knew what the fuck that was.
Yeah.
Because it
There
like,
are only like three digital agencies in the country. Yeah.
right, it was like RGA, AKQA, and Razorfish. That's it. And I didn't want to go to New York yet. I ended up going, but I wanted to stay here in Florida. And yeah, so I interned there. That's why I missed his class. But back to the whole thing, when I went remote in 2013, the titles started, what I did started changing because I wasn't in a room brainstorming. I wasn't pitching ideas. I was literally strictly designing banner ads and websites. So what I did started changing, and it was me taking direction from a creative director, designing all of this shit by myself. There was no copywriter. I didn't work with a copywriter at that time. And then everything I did just kind of like moved in that direction, more of like a digital designer. But I always did more than that. It was always like, what's the strategy behind these emails? Who are we sending these to? Who are we talking to? Why are we making this red? And it was all of that additional stuff that comes with it that a designer's not, whatever, graphic designer's not going to ask.
Yeah. Now that that's the sort of thing, it goes both ways. So at one point, I had this partner who was classically trained as a designer, and he was serving as my art director, and he could do both. But
Yeah.
I remember we were looking at portfolios. We had finally gotten swamped enough that the agency was like, we will hire a mid-level team under you guys. We were
Yeah.
ACDs.
Right.
And they showed us portfolio after portfolio after portfolio. And I kept looking at these things and going, this person seems like they have talent. And my partner would go, okay, but look at what's happening here. I want to see, do they understand design system? because the kind of clients we have, the work we're doing, I need them to be able to do that. He's like, also, do they have a style? Can they do different styles with their design? He's like, you see this? This is all people who mock Nike ads.
Hmm.
He's like, beautiful photography, which they probably didn't take, and then tiny typeset and swoosh. He's
Right.
like, yeah, it looks like a perfect Nike ad. Also, you could do it in your sleep. That doesn't tell me where their skills are. There's no grid here for me to judge them
Right.
on. Like,
Well,
and the point is, I didn't have that. So if it had just been me and somebody went, hire yourself a designer to work with, I wouldn't have known any of this. So
right.
you'll get people again in those positions where you don't know what you don't know.
Hmm.
You think, oh, there's going to be other people who miss some of these keys. Yeah, no, they will. You definitely know something, but
Yeah.
there's this vast sea of ignorance that
Yeah.
you don't realize you possess, and then you're hiring very narrowly, right? And you were describing somebody's looking for you, and I think you're probably running into this a lot right now. Somebody is looking at you going, well, so and so is overskilled because we just need somebody who's going to make website comps. You're like, actually, that's not all you need, but you don't work in
Right.
the department, so you don't even know. Somebody just handed you this listing and said, can you please go into the forest, find us an animal that looks like this, trap it, and bring it home for us? And you've got no idea how the hell to do it.
Right. It's interesting. I mean, also, it's really hard. Like, your previous partner could do both art direct and design, which I have found in a lot of people that I've spoken to. There's not a lot of people who can do that, who can be like a kick-ass fucking adaptable designer and go from a healthcare company to, I don't know, Google or like Nike, whatever. Nike's templated. It
Right.
is what it is. But
But you go from pharma to a skate brand, right? Where there's like
right,
no overlap with those. Can you play in both worlds?
right, right.
Yeah. And I don't know that everybody can, but that's why you build departments. And that's why
Yeah.
you need to make sure you have people of different skill sets.
It's crazy to me, like, how much the industry has changed in the last, I wanna say, like, 10 years.
Yeah, I think that's right.
It's been, like, this crazy shift to, like, and I spoke to a few people who I have this one guy, he's my friend, I love talking to him.
Yeah.
His name's Rick, he's like, shout out to Rick, he's, like, the OG ad man, but it's like, even when we started up until I wanna say, like, 2012-ish, 2013-ish, it was the ad world. There was advertising. It, like, lived, it breathed, it was funny. Like, I Love Lamp from Crispin is, like, my favorite commercial, still to this day. I can watch it for IKEA. Remember that one?
Yep. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I can quote it to you.
I fucking love that commercial.
Some of you feel sorry for this lamp. That is because you are crazy. It is a lamp. It has no feelings. And the new one is much better.
Oh, that was so brilliant. And like Crispin was like, they were the OGs. I remember in ad school when we toured Crispin, I took some classes there. And it was like, oh, I want to sit on the bleachers. I want to brainstorm there. I want to work here.
After you spend a double all-nighter on those bleachers, they get less exciting. I will tell you that much.
You know what? They were not doing much web at the time back in the day.
Juan was the first, he worked on Subservient Chicken.
Oh,
That was
that's
like
right. Oh
that was a
God.
big
Forgot about this.
breakthrough for Crispin was that whole Jeff Benjamin headed up their digital,
Yeah.
but that really became a department, I think, around the time we were in Miami ad school. It wasn't what they were known for originally. And before that, they did that Juan would have a pencil in his office for this. It was the Virgin America or Virgin Atlantic probably banner ad that when it moused over it, it turned into a pair of hands and it would massage the banner and it was talking about how you could get a massage on the flight.
I
And
love that.
because that tech was like breakthrough, that
Yeah.
was that was pencil winning tech. The
Oh my
pencil
God,
winning
you know
banner
what
ad.
we won for our travelers? What we did? So it was a banner, and then the top of the banner fell and hit the car, and then the car like got crunched, and yeah, we won a bunch of awards for that too. That was my idea. That was really fun.
That's awesome.
That was so fucking cool to be like, can you do this?
So a thing that I think has changed, and I am a big proponent of there's funny stuff out there now. Like there's good advertising out there right now. It's just
Yeah.
there's so much noise. The signal to noise ratio the noise has now surpassed this. It's more than one, right?
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
more
yeah.
noise than signal. So that's
Right.
the problem. I'll see stuff, list a ton of agencies, or at least a ton of examples that I love. And to me is like, there we go. Funny advertising is back. But
Right.
I feel like we spend so much time just shitting on the terrible stuff. We're not spending enough time celebrating the good stuff. And before, because there was just less stuff overall,
Yeah.
it was easier to find the good stuff and be excited about it.
This is why you're brilliant. This point is like, this is the point. This is
And I think that that's also true in terms of the talent pool, right? Are there 10 million people who are not right for your job? Yep. Also, there's a lot more people you can find who are right for it. It's going to require two things, though. You're going to have to sift through all of that. You, actual human, are going to have to sift through all of that. And then you're going to have to be okay with the chance that maybe you don't pick the absolute best person the first time.
right.
Those are the two things that I see on the outside
Mm-hmm.
that are really screwing people up. And I'm trying to hire. It's a part-time position right now, but I'm trying to hire for a role, and it's
Mm-hmm.
a disaster for me
But what are
because
you looking for? Let's plug it on the podcast.
let's do it. I am looking for a business development person. So
Okay.
I
ASAP.
can close the deals. That's fine. I no longer have time to just go around and make friends. I need a matchmaker. I need
Okay.
someone to make friends for me. It is, you would think that LinkedIn would make this easy. I would just post, hey, I need this thing,
Yeah.
except that then it's like, oh, are you hiring? Here's a menu of things you can pay us for if you want people to know. And I'm like, motherfucker, I have 25,000 followers on your platform. When you
Right.
tell me my post got a reach of 10, that's you, not me.
Right. Right. What is up with that?
That's really making me acknowledge that they're run by Microsoft, is what it is.
So
Let them decide.
when I passed 10K followers, I
Yeah.
noticed a bunch of different things pop up on my dashboard. And I'm
Yeah.
like, is this like the number? So now I'm like, now I have access to like a bunch of different things. I still have to pay for them, which is stupid. But I also, there's a slider where it's like, is this a brand post? So
Interesting. They
you
haven't done that to
can
me
do
yet.
that.
They don't, because the thing is, they don't roll this stuff out for everybody.
It
They're just
doesn't pop up all
testing.
the time for me though. It only pops
No.
up sometimes because I was trying to show Martina the other day. I'm like, look, I think I can get like brand deals on LinkedIn. I think that they might be doing that. And it happened like twice last week.
Yeah,
It's
I think
weird.
they're starting to explore it with some people. I For a long time, if somebody asked to connect with me and I accepted, it would then pop up a bunch of people from that followers list and be like, "Do you also know these people?" And that was
Interesting.
actually a really cool way to grow my network. And then
Right.
it stopped doing that for a year. And I was
Weird.
like, okay, I guess they just decided this feature isn't, but it was really useful. Sometimes it was people that I would want to follow. It came back 2 weeks ago. They're just, I swear they don't know what they're doing. They're just over there throwing spaghetti at the wall again
Which
and
is
being
so
like,
weird because it honestly, like LinkedIn, okay. Remember when Facebook started when we were like seniors in college? You could only join Facebook if you had a college email. Otherwise, you couldn't get on. So let's think about that for a minute. If brand deals were a thing back then, sororities, fraternities, history majors, like you have this niche market of college kids who will buy anything pretty much at that time. Everyone was like
that time, yeah.
buying anything. And now Facebook's super oversaturated. Everyone's on it, whatever. Now you have Instagram where it's super oversaturated. There's 101 influencers who do the same thing. No one's unique. I mean, I have a few that are still really funny that I follow. TikTok, I'm not
Only eight
really,
of them are real humans.
I know. Oh my God, the dead internet theory.
So are, before we even get into dead internet theory, have you heard the term in shitification?
In shitification, no, but I love it
Okay.
already.
So in shitification, it was coined by this guy, Cory Doctorow, and it is the process of services that were initially launched to be unsustainably awesome for the business, like Facebook, free for everybody, or let's use LinkedIn because it's in shitification in real time. LinkedIn, great. Make friends, talk business, whatever you need to do. Then, okay, we've hit peak numbers now. So start rolling ads. Okay, still free. This is annoying. I can kind of ignore it. Hey, the ad revenue is kind of starting to stall out. Let's start creating platforms so that people can buy and sell like a marketplace, or we'll allow you to promote your posts so that more people can see it. Or like it's just cash grab over and over again.
Right.
And shitification is basically we lock you in until you can't go anywhere else. And then we just make this thing crappier till we hit the lowest level before people are like, I'm out.
Peace. Right.
And but the dead internet theory, I think that LinkedIn's job search, I think job search in general is what dead internet theory looks like. You now have so many, again, it's just noise. It's
Yeah.
noise. Do you
Right.
we've produced so much stuff. Look at
Right.
look at all of the applicants that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? How are you going to process those? Oh, well, I couldn't possibly, so I'm going to let a robot do it.
Right.
Okay? How's the robot do it? It's looking for like keywords and stuff. Like, anybody with a typo, we kick them out. Okay? Cool. How many does that leave you with? Well, that's another, 500. So then we have a different robot for that. You get down to the point where you're like, you're talking about somebody that I'm going to potentially be spending more time with than my family each week.
Right.
I would like to make this decision myself. I think humans should be involved here.
Yeah. So I had this job interview. It's similar to like the theme that you're talking about. The VP of creative, he was like amazing. He was so good. And I met with like a whole bunch of people on the team. They were all amazing. And I have a very good friend, very close to me, who worked at the company, who referred me. And the HR director was like, "Look, we're like 2 weeks into interviews already. I'm just gonna have you meet with the creative director. If you guys, jive, we'll like throw you into the mix." Because they basically like had already chosen somebody. So we jived. He was like the best person ever. Threw me into the mix, meet with everybody. And then the creative director's like, "Look, you have to meet with the client." The only catch is the client already knows who he wants to hire. And it's somebody who is like the complete opposite of your skill set. Classically trained designer, came from, I think, Apple, has like pristine, like pixel perfect work. He's like, your work is great. It's not about that. It's just about like you come in with ideology and strategy and concepts and why are we doing it this way? They don't want that. Like he doesn't want to answer those questions. He just wants to tell someone what to do and for them to do it. And he was like kind of prepping me on the interview. He's like, because I really think you could be an asset to this team. I didn't get it, obviously, but,
That's
like, to
tough
your point.
though on a couple of levels, right? Just hearing that story, you weren't set up to an advantage, number one.
Right, agreed, right, but
And
also
they were upfront about that, to
yeah,
their
he
credit.
totally was very transparent.
Yeah, it's just like you're walking into something where you're already starting a couple steps behind.
Yeah.
But then also, it's interesting to me because that sort of indicates that there was a disconnect between what the agency wanted in terms of a new hire and what
Mhm.
their client wanted. So
Right,
now there was this thing that it shouldn't be on you to juggle.
right, yeah, agreed, but to your
And I'm not
point.
saying they put it on you, but like now how do you do this? Clients
Well,
like, I just want an order taker.
I knew going into it I wasn't gonna get it, like, I knew, because if they wanted a classically trained designer, I am not that. But to your point, what if the company starts failing? And then you need someone who comes in with a different way of doing things, and you only have the person working there who's doing things the same way over and over again, and it's not working. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna be running around a chicken with your head cut off. Like, what are you gonna do? So every interview I've had pretty much has been the same platform. I meet with a creative director, I meet with the VP of creative, and these are all for like ACD, like design director positions, and then I meet with the client.
So
Could you
interesting.
imagine meeting with the client 10 years ago?
No, they didn't even
Like,
want you in front of the client.
exactly.
This is interesting to me because it's one of the things that I talk about a lot in my work is the building the relationship.
Mhm.
In the abstract, objectively, you could argue, look at this, look how connected you are with this client.
Right.
We're going to let you, client, have input in who we hire for your business. We're doing the thing that Ben would tell us to do. Actually, no, I don't think that's a good idea. What I want is for you to have such a good relationship with the client that they then trust whoever the hell you pick
Right.
to service their work. Introduce the person, great. But this is a thing that I see agencies do so often. They confuse this service industry thing. No, we're in the service industry. The client is always right. We have to do whatever they ask. Do you like our pick for what the fuck? If I had a plumber come to my house and they were like, hey, I need a guy to help me with this, which of these three do you think is right? I don't know, dude. You're the expert here. Shit, why don't you know? This is terrifying. Get out. But that's exactly what you're describing.
Yeah.
Every
No,
time this
it's
happens, they're giving up way too much control.
I know. Martino was home for one of my client interviews, and when we hung up, he was like, holy shit. He was like, that's like me going into a client's house and then being like, I don't like this bar here. Can you please remove it? And he's like, well, this bar is stopping your whole fucking wall unit from falling down and like killing your kid. So no, I'm not going to remove it. Like, you hired me to do my job.
But this is the sort of thing that I deal with on a regular basis that to me is a direct result of ageism and lack of experience and that speed in the promotion. Well, this is how my boss did it, and that's how his boss did it, and that's how, can you tell me why? No. Like a lot of this stuff that I changed when I started really thinking about presenting it came from me stepping outside of the role for a second and going, all right, if I don't assume any of this anymore, does it make sense? Big argument that I have about this with clients, when I say clients, I mean agencies, is do you make a recommendation at the end of your campaign pitch? Do you tell the client which of the three most likely ideas are your favorite? Oh no, we don't want to be wrong. Like we need to have the client tell us what, again, if a plumber came to me and said, look, you got three options. I can replace that pipe. It'll be expensive, but you'll never see me again. I can put some waterproof tape around it. It could hold for the rest of the time you're in this house. I could see you next year, but it'll be super cheap. Or I've been chewing this gum for about 3 hours. I'll put it in there for free, close up the wall again, cross our fingers. Which of those three do you want? I mean, theoretically, all three will work, but I'm hoping you have a recommendation for me, man.
Right.
But agencies were like, gum, tape, new pipe. And clients don't know.
Your choice.
Clients don't know. So they go, what's cheapest? Or they go, what's the thing I've seen before? Because I understand that.
And we know it'll work.
And agencies will say, well, because they're the client, so they're always right. Just the hell they are.
When did that happen?
I think that started happening honestly, I think that started happening with the rise of the holding companies. I think that started happening when agencies, and that's part of why the independent agencies right now are on such a meteoric rise, in my opinion, is because you get individuals who are willing to stand behind the things they say.
Right.
And you can't do that if somebody else is your boss coming in the room and having opinions.
Yeah.
Not easily.
Wow.
Not in
No,
most cases.
that's like crazy interesting. All right. Well, this has been an amazing episode. I have learned so much. I hope you guys have too. Thank you so much, Ben. I feel like we need to do a follow-up episode on when your new book comes out so we can really like plug that. But I really
Anytime.
appreciate you being on. It was so good to catch up.
Thank you for making LinkedIn slightly more sufferable.
Thank you. All right. Bye, guys. Till episode 6.
Get up on your feet, this is a shame.